Okay. YouTube says we're live. I will choose to believe it. So this is the fourth session. I can't remember. It's another session of Conan. So this time we are gonna try and see if we can get through carousing, which I've not done before, so that'll be interesting. And likewise, we are going to. You're not helping. Likewise, we are going to start a completely new adventure at some point. So to set the scene, you guys have spent a good couple of months trying to get your way, trying to find your way back without being uncovered by raging bands of Asurai, or anybody else, come to that. Staying far to the east, trying not to go as far out into the desert as some of the cursed ruins out there. You about halfway through your journey bumped into another somewhat mysterious stranger who calls himself Aladai. He will introduce himself eventually when he arrives, but he's running late. But yeah, you guys eventually made your way back to Khoraja. So I will quickly drop this up. So Khoraja sits to the north of Shem, and is protected by a huge hill country on the edge of it. In particular, I have all this in my head, and the moment I actually start playing, I completely lose track of all the stuff I know about the place. So
that's because of the arousing.
Yeah, it's not helping. So yeah, you make your way up through the Shamla Pass, and when you are challenged at the top of the Shamla Pass by Khorajan guards, Neferet makes her presence known, and you are hustled away to the city. So you get to the city, and let's go back to that. Right. So you get to the city. You are put up in the royal palace in Khoraja. You are looked after extremely well. Your wounds heal. You are dined and or you are fed and watered, and looked after in quite a lot of style. By the time that you return to Khoraja, Prince Satabus, who was captured by soldiers from Shamir, they have already made contact about ransoming him, and as soon as he is fit to travel, Khoraja pays for his return, somewhat shamefacedly. In game terms, we're going to start with each of you have been given 15 gold, and you are, for once, not going to have to pay for accommodation whilst in the city. You, however, I imagine, eventually get bored of living within the palace and start to go out into the city in order to decide to see what the city has to offer. Well, you've already been in the city before. You were all mercenaries in its army. So, upkeep-wise, I think I'm immediately going to start eating into that gold of yours, because you will be spending time kicking around in the city. So I want to go through some of the mechanics for this for you, because this is a special situation. You will see how things work. And so at the start of carousing session, which is the downtime session, all players must spend a number of gold equal to 3 plus the character's social standing. I'm going to reduce that down to 1 plus the character's social standing, because you're staying in the palace. And this is worth bearing in mind, which is then modified by the character's renown. So for each level of renown, you reduce the upkeep cost by 1 rank, by 1. So the idea is that the more famous you are, the more other people are buying you drinks, and merchants want you to come and use their shop. So they'll charge you a little bit less to try and entice you in, so that they can then brag that the mighty Baldur was in last week. At the moment, you guys have got great stories, but nobody's heard of you.
Where's Renown, Louis? Sorry.
Renown on the character sheets, I'm guessing, is at the middle. Yeah, it's at the middle underneath the block that's got kind of your background and stuff in it, just above talents. You've got your fortune points, and then you've got renown, and then you've got social standing. Okay, that's blank for me at the moment.
Standing of 1.
Yeah. So social standing is how respected you are. It will positively affect social encounters that you have.
Is 1 high or low?
I had that thing where I was...
It's higher than 0.
Right.
Yeah, I had that thing where I had social standing. What was it? No, it wasn't that. It was...
It will have been set during character gen.
Yeah, I'm trying to find...
I would have thought as a nomadic herder and a mercenary, you're probably at 0. You might be at 1.
No, there was a... I'm trying to find what it was, because that's annoying. Let me... Oh, what a bugger, it's on my phone. I had a social standing thing.
Have I got it against your character sheet?
I'm going to look slightly off picture as I look on my phone. There we go.
Blank. I'm fairly sure, as a Hykernian herder, you've probably
no, I definitely had
that isn't high.
It might not be high, but I definitely had something that was to do with social standing.
Sort of by eagle-eyed, fast and fit herder, family.
Went sailing.
March, vengeful, survived the massacre.
Sorcery, no, not that. Not
but
that.
So the idea is that your characters, the like I say, social standing. The higher you are in society, the more money you're going to end up spending, in order to live in the at the standard which you normally would expect. Where are we? So renown.
Is it the higher or the lower?
The higher, the more expensive, because you are higher up society. Where are we? Not nature. It's not going to be an archetype.
Not camera, not strong. Born in the saddle. It's not that.
Archetype. Outcast stories, petty nobility. It's going to be before that. It should be your cast, I think, that sets it.
Yeah, I think that's part of it.
Yeah.
My cast's a warrior, so I don't know what yours is.
Actually, herder, you will have a 1. Warrior, you will have a 1.
Yeah.
What's Baldur's cast?
I can't tell you at the minute because I'm trying to repair the file.
Okay, I'll try and send you that file in just a sec.
Family footsteps, herder.
Yeah, you're a herder as well. So yeah, I think you're all at 1. I think. Let me just send this file. Is email going to be the easiest way of doing this, Simon?
Don't message if you want.
Okay.
I just remember reading something on social standing for some reason.
Okay, so immediately then, I'm going to say a lot of the costs are your food and lodgings. I'm going to drop that down to 1. So you're therefore, because you've got social standing of 1, you're going to immediately lose 2 gold just for your time, just to pay board and just to pay for going out and hitting the town and being around the town and that kind of stuff.
Okay, I've got it, Louis. My cast is herder.
Okay, so that gives you a social standing of 1. And like I say, at the moment, none of you have
any renown.
None of you have any renown at all. You've got stories worthy of renown.
Just haven't told them enough yet.
You haven't told them enough. You haven't been around the around the taverns, telling people of your great exploits and getting a name and that kind of thing.
Embellishing them.
Yeah. So I know I sent out a while back and said, what kind of things are you guys going to want to be doing in the week or 2 that you've got between deciding that you're well enough and bored enough to leave the palace and the next thing turning up? Yeah, now, Dougie, you were talking about, I suddenly realized you were talking about sending money home. I don't know how you're going to do that. It's a long way from Shem to Hikernia. It's a really long way. And there aren't any banks. You could sort of put it on a caravan train and ask them to find your tribe and give it to them, but that might be quite tricky.
Okay, I also thought about that, and I actually thought about investing in a Khorajan farm. Might have been more beneficial.
Okay.
So, bearing in mind, Khoraja is the capital of the area.
Yeah.
That actually, I may get a greater yield investing in a local farmer, whilst not becoming the owner of the farm, but certainly investing in it for a return. Yep.
I do love it when people come up with stuff that isn't in the book and make me go, oh, the hell's that going to work? Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Right. I will think back on that in a minute.
That's fine.
Baldor, I know, wanted to try and sell the symbol of Mitra that you found.
Yeah.
So, trade. Common items can be replenished as part of a character's upkeep. Obtaining something new or significant may take time to find the right trader. Finding and purchasing items on page 135, which is miles away from where I am now. I knew it was in here somewhere. So outside of doing that, what other things do you want to be doing with your time? You can go gambling. You can go and try and spread stories of your renown. You can go shopping. You can... what their suggested things include trade, gambling, picking up rumors, trying to meet a patron, recovery. Hello, we've not got cultivate renown. Oh no, cultivate renown.
Bit of shopping, some skills.
So, in terms of Genghis, then, He's got. Let me just double check before I get the figures wrong. He's got 3 gold at the moment.
No,
So the 15. Sorry, he's got 6 gold. So the 15 takes him up to 21.
Yeah.
The 2 upkeep drops him down to 19.
Yep.
So in terms of investment, he's happy to invest up to 15 into local business.
Okay. So he had 19.
He's now down to 4. With that 4, what he wants to do is reload his loads.
Okay.
Which I'm sure in the castle will probably arrange for that for nothing.
Yeah, I could go with that. I would say actually, in terms of re-equipping you, provided you're not going stupid, yeah, you can re-equip fairly easily.
In which case, then I'd like to replace my sharpened stone dagger thing with a short sword. I think is not unrealistic.
No, that's fine. You can definitely end up with a decent short sword.
So I'd change that to a short sword, which is a reach of 2, I believe.
Yeah, I think so. You've got the stats for that in the player's guide, haven't you?
Yeah, I'll find that anyway.
Of course you can't
so I'd equip a short sword. What are you allowing in terms of armor?
What do you want to wear?
Because that's I don't want to go untrue to what my character is, but I've got 1s throughout and a 3 for head.
If you want to get, say, a complete set of Brigandine or something like that, you could do that very easily. I think if you're going to want kind of, I don't know, full plate, you'd probably have to buy it.
No, as a ranger, that's unrealistic. Brigandine is realistic for a archer type. Plate is not. So I think a full Brigandine is realistic.
Okay,
and that's what, 2 throughout.
Yeah. I mean, that would normally be quite costly.
We've just saved the prince and princess.
Well, no, you saved the princess. The prince ended up being captured by the enemy, but got ransomed back at lots and lots of. Well,
he told us to.
He did. You can have the Brigandine jacket for free.
Yeah.
If you want, so that will do torso and arms.
Yep.
If you want to do trousers with that as well, that will cost you 4 gold.
4. I'll give you 2, which gives me 2 for gambling.
Nah, take 4. You've got 15 that you're thinking of investing.
Okay, so I will take that, which puts me up to 17.
Okay.
Did you take a short sword, Doug? Or a sword?
Yeah, I took a short sword. I had this sharpened stone before.
Right. So you've gone for a reach of 1. Yeah, okay.
Is it reach 1, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the same as my sharpened dagger.
It's probably a better piece of kit.
In fact, if you go to Charlie and Simon, and I'll have a look through the guide and see what actually I'd be realistic in.
Okay. Symbol of Mitra, Simon, you spend a while trying to flog. One of the problems is that basically most of the worship in Khoraja is of Ishtar, not of Mitra. However, you can find. I'm trying to work out how much it's going to be. You can find you could probably find a mercenary from, say, Namibia, who has signed on with the Khorajan military, and you can sell that for a gold there. But
yeah,
it'll take you a day or two to
that'll do, because that'll give me 28 gold.
28?
Yeah, because I had 12 from beforehand.
Blimey.
Bits I found throughout the game, and then you gave me 15, that made 27, so that gave me 28.
See, this was the point where I'm going, I'll play it easy. They're going there. I don't want them to be too poor when they're wandering around the city for the first time, and suddenly you guys go, we're loaded. Is there anything particular that Baldur is trying to buy?
I better replace some of my arrows I'd shot.
Okay, the arrows I will let you, in terms of, if you want to get a couple of volleys of arrows, you can get that from the armory.
Okay. I think I'm going to do a dug and go and dig the book out and see if there's anything I want. I haven't really thought about it.
Okay, no worries. Actian.
Yeah. Apparently, I've got padded jerkin. That's all I'm wearing for armour.
Yeah, that sounds entirely possible.
So what will be what's the weight of that? What's the encumbrance? What's the rest of it?
Sorry, what is it?
What is it? It's not in the armour section at all.
Okay, so what is it described as?
A padded jerkin.
Padded jerkin?
It's not in the armour section at all.
Have you got any armour at all?
Well, I've got both arms and torso, 1 point.
Okay, so basically you're
heavy clothing gives you arms and torso.
That's basically what you're wearing, is heavy clothing.
Oh, right. Can I have heavy clothing trousers as well then, to do my legs?
Yeah.
Can I wear trousers as well?
Well, it's not just trousers. It's kind of heavy padded trousers. You could, if you wanted to, you could follow the same kind of route as Genghis did, and get yourself a complete set of brigandine. It would cost you, like I say, you can pick up the jacket for.
It cost me 12. I've got 13.
Well, no, the jacket they'll give you. You can manage to. You just rescued the princesses. You brought them back, etc. So at a cost of 4, you can pick up brigandine trousers as well, and that will give you 2 completely on every.
So brigandine sleeves and trousers, and the jacket gives me 2 on the arms and torso. So I've got 4 on the arms in theory.
No, brigandine jacket gives you 2 sleeves or trousers. So if you spend 4, you get yourself trousers, and that gives you 2 on everything. But you can buy. What's the point? Where are the helmets?
I could go.
Oh, there we go. You could pick yourself up either a leather cap or a helmet or a coif. I
haven't got FR down yet.
That's right at the bottom. That is right at the bottom.
I like barding.
No, now you're on horses. So yeah, what do you want to? What kind of stuff are you looking to do while you're in Khoraja?
Well, how long is it going to take me to send a message back to find out how my share in the ship's going? Or my share in my light craft? Will I get a return in time?
It would take you that you would have to find a caravan to carry that message into Shem, who currently hostilities between certain parts of Shem. Shem is made up of city-states. It's not one country, but 2 of the city-states. This end of Shem are at war currently, or at least on extremely unhostile footings. You could try and send a message through Koth and then up and round, basically to try and just generally find out how things are going.
I'd like to send a message to find out how things go. If it doesn't come back, I'll pick it up when we come back off this mission or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it will take probably, by the time you've got it there, they've received it and send it back. Probably going to take your best part of a year to get that message back. But Shem's a big country.
Yeah, it's all right. You've got to keep the check on your business.
Yeah. No, you can send them. I'm in Khoraja, having a wonderful time. How's the ship?
Yeah.
Kind of message.
Still alive.
Yeah. Don't sell the boat yet.
So where am I?
Okay, Louis, I've looked through my melee weapons.
Yeah.
And I still think that my character would be more suited to a dagger than a sword. Okay. So I'm looking at the Zyber knife.
That's fine. Take it. That's not a problem.
Thank you very much indeed.
I'm going to find the helmets now.
So yeah. So what if anything do you guys want to do while you're in town? Do you want to go out gambling and drinking? Do you?
There's a couple of bits I want to buy, Louis, that you may need to make a decision on.
Okay.
I want to buy a healer's kit. Sorry, a healer's bag.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is a kit, basically.
Yeah, that's fine. Mark off the appropriate amount of gold. You can buy one.
Right. I want to buy a saber for myself because I've already got a short-handed sword.
Yeah. Yeah,
so I think
that's fine.
The saber does a bit more damage, doesn't it?
Right. What I will remind you of is the saber does more combat dice of damage. However, when it does effects, I think a saber, like most swords, the only effect it has is parry, which is
cavalry one parry.
Yeah, it's a passive. Unless you're riding into combat on a horse, it doesn't do anything. And I think parry one, from memory, likewise, that's not something where if you roll an effect, then, although it might be. If you pick a different type of weapon, the combat dice don't go up significantly, but what happens if you roll an effect does. So it's not just how many dice you're rolling, it's what happens if you roll a 5 or a 6 on those dice.
Okay. All right, I'll have a rethink about that one then.
Yeah, actually, well, if you're fighting from horseback, which occasionally you will be, then a saber, I think, has cavalry 1. So for every effect rolled during rolled from horseback, if you roll an effect, it does 2 damage rather than 1 damage.
Okay, so qualities it says under here is cavalry 1 and parrying, which you said is standard for all swords.
Parrying is standard for all swords, and if you've got a shield, kind of vanishes unless you throw your shield away to not take a wound.
Cavalry, Simon, is specific to scimitar, sabers, and tulwars.
Yeah.
Yeah. But basically, if you are doing a mounted charge attack, then each effect rolled will do 1 extra damage. So basically, on a 5 or a 6, you're doing 2 damage instead of 1 damage.
Unforgiving.
Charging on horseback. Yeah, Unforgiving's quite good. Quite good.
So if the target of this attack was affected by an exploit action immediately before this attack was made, then this attack gains intense and vicious X.
Yeah.
So an Unforgiving 2 is nice.
Yeah, that would give you vicious 2 if you've made an exploit action. An exploit action, you
intense roll... and vicious 2. So intense 2 is 2 more harms, which for most weak characters is an immediate death.
Yeah, basically, if you do a wound with it, then you do more wounds. No. Intense only does 1 additional harm. You don't get intense 2, you just get intense. But vicious would be vicious 2, and an attack with that inflicts X additional damage. So vicious 2 would inflict 2 extra damage for each effect roll. So if you rolled a 5 or 6, you do 3 for that dice.
Yes, they don't have to be actual effects. Just having rolled an effect, even though you don't do one, is sufficient for the extra damage, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, sweet. Happy with that.
And I'm adding a sling to mine.
Okay.
Give me some sort of ranged weapon.
You can pick up a sling from the Royal Armoury. That's not a problem.
For nothing.
Yeah. They're not gonna the armory is not going to suddenly equip you in Cothian plate mail armor when you turned up wearing the remains of leather armor. Yep. But if you turn up wearing the remains of leather armor and they look at it and they go, "You got that on the battlefield. Have a jacket of leather is, that's
fine.
And likewise, a sling, no problem. A short sword, no problem. You start going for
and some bullets to go with it.
Yeah, you can take a couple of loads.
How many's in
I mean, brigandine trousers are 4 gold anyway, so basically we've been offered trousers and arms and jacket for only 4.
Yeah.
Which is a very good deal.
How many loads of slingshot can I take? And how many's in a
load? Right, so the idea is that within one fight you are not going to burn through more than 1 load. So you don't have to track individual arrows, you don't have to track individual sling stones, all of that.
You can pick up stones and use those as well, yeah.
Well, no, the idea is you've got X number of sling bullets, you're not going to run out of that in a fight. You then go back out and you try and pick them up, and there is a chance that you might deplete. If you roll a complication, if you roll a complication, you may suddenly find that you reach to the pouch and you're out of ammo. That's a possible.
Isn't it 6s?
That's when you're going to get them back. But in the middle of a fight, if you roll a complication and I'm feeling nasty, you've just gone, crap, I'm going to have to start another load of ammo. But the other thing
I know at the end of the turn it's 1 to 6.
Yeah. If at the end of the combat, it's on a... Is it on a 5? I think it's on a 5 or a 6. On a 5
just
or a
6.
Okay. If you've got a volley, you can. If your weapon's got the volley quality, you can go, okay, I'm going to burn an extra load of ammunition, and that adds 1d20 to the roll and an extra combat dice.
Because it does do volleys and stun.
Yeah.
Bloody hell, that's nice, Charlie.
Well, I haven't got any ranged weapon. I've got 1 sword. That's my weapon. I've got no dagger or anything else, so go for a sling.
That's why I went for the knife, the Zahir knife, because I've got nothing in your face.
Yeah. I've gone the opposite way because I've got nothing for distance.
So we're both becoming rounded fighters.
Well,
right, so it was 4 gold bought us just a brigandine shirt?
No, you'll get they will give you, if you want it, a brigandine jacket. And then if you're out and about and you want trousers to go with it, you'll need to buy that in the market, which is going to cost you 4 gold. So yeah, you can get a complete brigandine outfit.
So what does that give me armor-wise then?
2 on every location.
Apart from your head.
Apart from your head.
I'm just going to have the legs then, because I've already got 3 in each location. I've got a male shirt.
Yeah, so keep the male shirt. You didn't bin any part of that for... to avoid a wound, did you?
Nope.
No, yeah, in which case just spend the 4 on the trousers and off you go.
I think it was Belle lost one of her arms, didn't she?
Yeah.
I think you did too, Charlie.
No, I just got wounded. But I've got a new shirt anyway now.
I thought one of you lost leg armor and one of you lost one of your arm armor.
I didn't have any leg armor and I didn't lose any arm armor. I collected 2 wounds.
Probably both Belden.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kaya is down to a 1 on a 0 on a right leg and a 0 on a right arm. So in fact, what I will do is I'll do the same thing with her. I will spend 2 gold because you can buy the sleeves or the legs separately. And that drops her down to 11 and she's back up to being armored. Right.
Okay.
Which,
so looking at
shopping aside, what do you guys want to be doing with your?
Well, I've got to do a bit of womanizing.
Yeah, I've got 16 gold now, so I think to put it in pirate speak, so Charlie would understand it: drinking and wenching.
Yep.
Okay. Right. So some of that has come out of that gold that you've already spent. Are you looking particularly to go gambling? Are you looking particularly for cultivating renown? Both of those things are things you can do. They will cost you some extra.
I've got to cultivate some renown
gold to
after
do
saving
that.
the princesses. Come on.
Okay, so to cultivate renown, character spends 1 or more gold. And at the end of the period where you are cultivating renown, well, you can or I can roll combat dice equal to the amount of gold spent. If the total is equal or higher than the player character's current renown, then the character increases renown by 1. If one or more effects are generated, you suffer some negative attention as well, as the carousing gets out of control and causes problems.
Yeah, I'll go for 1 because I'm in blank at the moment. I'm 0, I'm guessing.
I'll spend 2. So
you're 1, Charlie, as a soldier. Renown's 1.
I'm a warrior.
Yeah, that's renown 1. Same as me and Simon as herders are also renown 1s.
Social standing was 1, not renown.
Oh.
Where is it on the character sheet, Louis?
It's all around the middle.
It's dead centre above
talents.
Next to fortune includes.
Yeah. There's nothing there at all. So
1 in standing.
Yeah, no, I know what Doug's thinking of, which is you're thinking about
fortune.
You're thinking about you're thinking about standing. But
okay, I'll spend 2 gold.
One. You'll spend 2 gold. Okay, so in which case we'll start with Actian. Actian gets to roll 1d6.
1d6.
And you don't want it to come up 3 or 4. Actually, you don't want it to come up 3, 4, 5, or 6. But go for it. See what happens.
So that's 6.
A 6. Okay. The way that I read that is 6 still counts as a 1. So
it's an effect.
Your renown goes up.
Right. So my renown is now 2 or 1? My renown is now 1.
Your renown is now 1.
Yep.
So
that's what I was expecting.
Simon, roll me 2d6.
2 and a 4.
You've got a 2 and a 4, which means that you don't get. Yours goes very nicely.
Does he just go up by 1 now? Because he's rolled more than his.
Yeah, you just go up by 1. So you get 1 renown for that. Each of you gets 1 renown. I am going to say that Kay. How much do you reckon Kaya puts into likewise pushing her renown?
She's greedy. She goes hell for leather. So what's she got in terms of gold?
She's got. I'm not sure what she started out with.
You said that when you roll it, if the total is more than your current renown, so she's 0 at the moment. So if she rolls it, she's going to be 1.
No,
not if she rolls a 3 or a 4, she won't.
No, true. So she could go up by 2. I think she'd go for 2.
Yeah. Okay. So let's. If I roll that for her, that is probably fairest.
It'll cost her 10
actually, I'm
as
supposed
well.
to anyway. So keyboard out of the way. No, I don't want to roll 2d7. I want to roll 2d6.
Sure.
A5 and a2. So the good news is her renown goes up by 1. But yes, she did roll a. And Dougie is Genghis going out telling stories of his bravery and all the things that he's done, or is he sitting at the back of the tavern while the others are doing it, going, "You're a bunch of bloody idiots"?
Let me just check something out here. So I've got 17 gold. I want to invest, but I also want profit. I know that selling my stories is more likely to make my farm do well, but I don't want to go OTT. So I will probably try and invest 1 gold.
Okay, go for it.
So I will drop that down to 16.
And roll 1d6 and see how it goes.
4.
Doesn't work, unfortunately.
Yep.
Okay, and I'm fairly sure that there is no way on earth that that Aladai was going to be. He's going to be going out trying to build renown for himself at the moment. There we go. Right.
That's fair enough. I'm happy with that.
Oh, that's the number of effects rolled, isn't it? Okay, so who was it? It was actually, I think it was both Actian and Baldur that ended up
gaining 1
effect. Okay, the nights that you are telling your stories, there are 2 things that happen. One is that Baldur gets fairly drunk. I know this is a tremendous shock, and ends up arguing with the most straight-faced Argosian pirate you've ever come across. Makes you wonder where the hell Actian is, because Actian should be about, which and you get talking to this guy and you're telling jokes, and you know you've had a couple. You're as funny as only you can be when you've downed several, and the guy just doesn't crack a smile all night. But the 2 of you do get increasingly drunk together, and you manage, whilst 3 sheets to the wind, you manage to, for the cost of only 1 gold, swindle him out of this treasure map that he's got, that he's found, which he's trying to work out exactly where it's for. Waking up the next morning with those dull recollections running through your head, you do end up wondering just slightly why you thought it was such a good deal. But water under the bridge now. I will just show everybody the map, and there we go. So this is the map. It's definitely lovingly drawn, and it's old. It's on faded leather. So I will drop you out a personal copy of said map. Like I say, at the time,
can you still not see it?
If it's on Hangouts, I don't see it.
I can see it.
I can see it.
Well,
Charlie, we know where the treasure is. Off we go then.
Yeah, let's go. You take the right hand one, I'll take the left hand one.
All you need to do is find the right door, and probably that's going to mean something to somebody.
Is that the right door?
Well, there's a doorway that appears to lead into this complex. It's exactly where the hell the complex is that waking up was the bit of the plan that you didn't actually quite work out. So I will pass said map across to you. Oh, blimey, that's quite a large file.
Hang on to it, Louis.
Pass that across to you on Facebook Messenger. That's coming your way, and I'll find a way of sharing it out with everybody or let Simon share it out with everybody if he wants. Yeah, so it costs you a gold for that. Actian the next night is drinking and likewise telling tales of these evil monsters. There's a bunch of mercenaries, some of whom you've kind of met before. They likewise got out of the massive ambush in the desert. They're a bit pissed at the constant having it large. You've been living it up in the royal palace while they've been slogging it out. They slogged it out of the desert and come back to find nothing really waiting for them, and just dealing with more of the same old. And they're not really buying the ancient god of evil and hideous fanged beasties stories all that well. And there's nothing minor, nothing major. There's a bit of a scuffle that breaks out, and some idiot throws a chair, somebody ducks, and it goes through the window of the tavern. The tavern owner is not overjoyed at this, and as you are as Actian is the name in the frame, as Actian's the one that's been singing his stories high and wide, Actian is the one that they come to and say, "Oi, who's paying for that? Do I need to go and get the watch?" And it's going to cost you a gold to get that kind of turned around and not end up spending a night in the cells.
I'll just make a bit of song and dance about how it's not so expensive and do it.
Hey.
Bluff it up to make it sound even better. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's all good. What else do you guys want to do? I'm looking at the time and thinking we probably don't want the carousing section to go on that much longer. However, before we finish the carousing section, is anybody trying to spend XP?
Yes.
How much do we have?
500.
500. And what can we do with it? Because this is the bit we haven't got to yet.
Yeah, we did.
Not a lot.
We did. I sent you all the details in an IM about a week and a half ago.
That was a week and a half ago, Louis. I've driven lots of places. I've done 1,300 miles last week.
Yeah.
Me and my poor car.
Basically, not a vast.
I've done 180 miles on my mountain bike. Come on.
Well, no, that's all good. If you haven't had a time to have a look at it, it's going to take too much to go through it now. So you probably want to carry it on for your next carousing section anyway.
I'll write that in the XP, 500.
Yeah. Doug, I know you looked at the buys. You wanted that talent, didn't you?
I was looking at a few talents. My concern now is having a decent melee weapon is I don't have a melee talent. So I was looking at the first melee talent.
Okay. Is that No Mercy?
Was No Mercy, yeah.
No Mercy, I think, is going to cost you
225 XP.
Yeah, I think it probably will. Have you got... What focus have you got in melee?
Sadly, not a great, which is why I was trying to get it. That's brawn. No, it's not. Melee is focus of 0 at the moment.
Okay, so acquiring
I've got an agility of 11.
Roughly 200 XP minus 25 per level of focus in that skill. per level up the skill tree they are. So
yeah, that'd be 600, wouldn't it?
No, not for No Mercy. No,
so that'd be first level.
That would be 200 XP, but I have a feeling you have to have a skill in it before you can take a talent in it.
But that's the first level.
Yeah, but you have to have a skill in it. At the moment, you've not got any skill or focus, have you?
Focus is 0. Yeah.
And so expertise with it, EXP in it is also 0. So you could spend 200. And that would drop you up and put a 1 into expertise. You can't have more focus than you've got expertise. So you could spend one of your... Can you spend more than 1 in a particular carousing session? I don't think you can. So I think you could put 1 in and get an expertise, which would put you at a 12-0.
Can our expertise and focus has it got the XP for it?
I knew this was going to go this way. I knew whatever I did, I was going to end up flipping backwards and forwards trying to work this out. Right. Invest in experience, skill improvement.
Because I still can't go above 3, can I?
No, there is nothing in it to say that you can't do multiples. So no, you could spend 400. No, you can go above 3. You just can't afford to go above 3.
Okay, that's cool though.
So you go from 2 to 3, 600.
So we've only got 5.
You could put one experience, 1 level of skill and 1 level of focus into melee if you wanted to, and that would cost you 400 XP.
And that would put me as a 12-1. But that still doesn't give me no mercy, does it?
Doesn't give you no mercy.
But it allows me to next time.
You could put 1 into skill. Don't think you have to have focus. Improvement attribute, acquiring talents. Prerequisites, which mean you need... Right. Bear with me half a sec. Let me find melee.
I'm on that at the moment.
Maybe you don't.
Hooray! Sorry.
What are you doing?
Just found my name in the back of the
book. No mercy.
It simply states melee expertise 1.
So you could do 1 into the skill, and 1. You could do 200 to get the skill up to 1, and then you could do 200 on no mercy,
which is an extra melee die if I need to.
Is it an extra melee die? I think it's a reroll,
damage die.
Is it damage
extra die? Damage die.
Is it? No mercy?
Yeah, it's an extra damage die. No, okay. No, it's an extra damage die per number of melee talents.
No, it's not. When making a melee attack, you may re-roll a number of damage die equal to the... Yeah, so yeah, it's a re-roll, not an extra.
Yeah. Which is probably just as good, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, so as I torn at the moment, do I hold it off for my range? To be honest, 11's not bad. Yeah, there's no focus on it, but it's not bad. I'm going to... In fact, I'm going to hold it off, you know.
That's all right. Hang on to it.
I think I'm going to hold the 500 XP. So I'm down to 16 gold. Unlike Baldur and Actaeon, I'm going to head back to the castle each evening to save my gold.
Okay.
I'm not into gambling or that sort of thing, and I'm going to invest 15 into a local farm, I think.
Okay. Okay. Drop me a note about that. I will work out what you get back from that. But yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yep.
Okay. Is there anything else people want to do during carousing, or?
No, I'll look up what I want to do talent experience-wise, Louis, and I'll send it off to you.
Okay.
I've got the book. I can do that. So.
Okay. Yeah. No, that sounds good. Right, we're going to treat it that way. 1d20 for each. Okay, am I going to do this now or not? I'm not. I'm going to skip. There are carousing events, which normally I would do, but I'm going to skip that because I'm looking at the time and thinking we've got I want to get started on what is going on. So, right, don't want that. Don't want that. Done that. Right. Okay. So, you've been out and about. You've spent gold. Some people obviously are talking to you about what you've done. You're hearing there's a little bit of buzz about you on the streets. Possibly. And you are asked to attend the royal court. One day you get a message saying this afternoon could you attend the royal court. I'm guessing that everybody turns up.
Yep.
Okay, you dig Kaya out of whichever bar she's asleep at the time. Try and get her cleaned up again, and head off. So, as we start, you are walking into the entrance chamber to the royal court. You've been here a couple of times before. The court itself is behind a set of closed double doors. And you know to wait in the entry room outside. There is, as you get into the antechamber, there are a group of mercenaries who you have seen and know of old. Baldur, especially because they're the ones. Actually, sorry, Actian, especially because they're the ones that got involved. Especially Manla, this Dafari guy. He's apparently pretty good tactically on a battlefield. He's definitely the first one out there giving it large and mouthing off to people. There's like I say, three. What did I decide in the end? Yeah, 3 guys and 2 women standing sort of lounging the far side of the entrance chamber. And there's a couple of guards stood by the big closed doors into the royal court. And as you guys walk in a moderately loud stage whisper, Manla nudges the Numidian next to him, guy with a big tash, and says, the poor soft ones have woken from their slumber on silken sheets and deigned to come and eat pastries. There's a kind of round of laughter from the group the other side of the room.
So, what language was that, Louis?
They'd have. It will have been probably in kind of pidgin Khorajan. You've spent long enough that you've got a fairly good grasp of basic Khorajan. You might not be able to get in there in court and be the wittiest guys out there, but you understand the gist of it. All of you pretty much get what they're saying.
So we know if they're taking a low blow.
Yeah.
Yeah. They and you know that they will.
I look over at Actian and Kajian and say, "Somebody let the dogs in." Oh no, sorry, no, it's just the smell of the dogs. Sorry.
Okay. There's a bit of a ripple of discontent at that. But Mandler kind of.
I kind of sort of like give Mandler the eye as if to say, "Come on, start something in the palace, please."
Mandler says, "We may smell not quite as fragrant and perfumed as you, but at least we don't live the easy life just living off fairy stories."
I stop, turn my head towards him, and then take a sudden step, gently drawing my blade from the sheath. Not completely, but I'm attempting to scare him.
You know what? Let's do this. Make me a. I'm guessing that's going to be a command.
Command or persuade?
That'll be a command. I think it's going to be under command for, or is it going to be under persuade? I can never remember.
It's probably the same on Doug's sheet anyway.
It makes absolutely little difference to me because they're shit.
Seven. Go on. Tell me they're 7. Go on.
See, I think that with a low personality, that aggressive tendencies would be quite good, but no, they're not.
It all depends on how you on how you build it. You've still got to carry it through. You might be very, very good at actually killing them. I'm now trying to find. Oh, come on! There we go. That's what I want. Yeah, let's treat it as those.
Oh, okay. So that's 1 success.
That's 1 success. And come on. I knew I should have printed this bit out. You know what? I'm going to make the roll the same way. So we are looking at personality and okay. What we're trying to do. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Now he gets. He just kind of smiles as you draw and says, "Did I let you out with sharp objects? I'm surprised."
Okay. With that, I completely draw and press against his neck. Enough to scratch, but not...
Okay. Before you do that, Doug, I'm going to step between the two of you and say, do you really want to start a fight here with the palace guard watching over all of us? Put the knife away. Manlaw's not worth it. Manlaw, you would make the blade rusty with your blood, and we don't want to do that. Let's just listen to what they've got to say to us, see if there's any cash in it, make some cash, go out, have a good time.
I laugh.
And put the knife away.
I spin it around, flip it a few times, straight in the sheath.
There's it kind of calms down a bit. The guards by the side definitely visibly relaxed. They were definitely tensing. They did not want this to go down. They're just kind of general, palace guards. They're nothing special. They really do not want toughened mercenaries fighting in the hall, and they're going to have to try and stop it. So you're definitely getting grateful looks from them. I would like somebody to make me an observation check.
That's got to be me.
I'm good at that, and so is Charlie.
12 and 3 and a reroll.
You're better than me, mate. I got 12 and 2 in a reroll, so fill your boots. I'm
going to say go for it, Charlie. Partly on the grounds that he was not quite so engaged in the fight.
2d20s.
And he's better.
Yeah, go for it. 2d20.
Right. Okay. Well, that's 2 successes.
Okay.
I'm sticking with that.
Okay. You hear through the doors, which and the doors into the royal court are pretty solid, and you just make out, just as everything's kind of just as the tension's at its height, you catch out the corner of your ear a scream. It sounds both like terror and pain from inside the courtroom.
Okay, I'll make the others aware. Now, can we rush in, or have we just got to stand and take our chances to the guards?
Bow drawn, turn towards the scream.
You didn't hear it yet. So you've got 2 guards there. You are fairly well respected in the palace. You normally would need to wait for a
sign from the guards. Yeah.
You'd need to wait for somebody to come out and invite you in.
Yeah.
But normally you wouldn't expect to hear that from within.
How close are we? Are the guards in the way of me getting to the door?
Yeah, they stood either side of the double doors.
Okay, and the doors are shut.
The doors are shut. The doors open inwards.
Obviously, split the guards. Yeah. I think I should rush over to the guards and tell them I heard a scream. I would love to barge the doors open, but I'm not sure what's going to happen.
Okay, so you rush over to the guards and say, "Did you not hear that scream?"
Yeah.
Make me a persuade roll.
There we go. Persuade roll 7. 2d20s.
You can spend doom if you want.
No. How many did I need for the observation check then?
You needed 2.
Oh, did I? All right. Okay, I'm just going to have 2d20.
Spend a fortune, guaranteed to.
I've got one.
You have?
Oh, right, sorry.
You got 4.
Go on, I'll go for 1. I'll spend 1.
Okay, that gets you the 2. Roll me dice anyway.
And I get 1. And a complication.
Do you have a roll for that? So can you re-roll that 20?
No.
Not on a persuade, you can't.
No.
Okay, so let me run through this. So you've got, what's your skill with persuade? 7 and 0.
Yep.
7 and 0. Okay, you've got 2 successes, but there is a complication.
Yeah.
3.
Nope. 2.
2.
It has no focus.
The 1 counts as 2, doesn't it?
Only if you got.
It's an automatic 1, which is 2.
No, only if you got focus in it.
I've got a 0 on it. 0-7, Doug.
If you've got a focus, then the 1 counts as a 2. If you have a 0 in focus, then the 1 still counts as a 1 single success.
Oh, that's the first time we come across that. Oh, thank you, Louis. Cheers.
So I've got 2. Go on.
Okay, so you got 2 successes and a complication.
They believe you, but they're not letting you in.
They believe me, but they tell me to wait while they go in and check.
They look at one another and say, I didn't hear I did what scream? And they turn and they kind of move kind of slowly and a bit tentatively towards the door. They're not used to opening the doors from this side. Now, by this point, the rest of you have heard whatever it was that Actaeon said. So they're moving kind of slowly towards the doors and kind of trying to listen at it and muttering to one another about exactly what to do.
I've been in most evenings, so do I know if the doors open in or outwards from where we are now?
Doors open inwards, away from.
Okay.
This is the royal the royal court. This is effectively the throne room. So you haven't been in here. You've been in a couple of times, but you haven't been in every night. You've been in and around the palace, but
but knowing that the doors open inwards is enough for me. I'm going to look at Baldur and Action and Khoraja and go, we don't wait, and try and force our way through. People don't scream for no reason. There's obviously a need for it.
Okay. So you just like charge up. I mean, the two guards are kind of having a muttered conversation, stood right by the doors. You can just walk up and slam into the doors if you want and send them open.
Totally. Bow drawn, arrow knocked.
Okay. So the mercenaries that stood outside are kind of looking at you slightly askance as you suddenly charge towards the doors. And you hit the doors and they burst open. And I'm going to say that's not a bad time to take a quick break because I could do with a drink. And then I will tell you what is inside the room when we come back.
Is there any update on Ollie?
I haven't seen anything. If he's not on by now, I imagine he may not make it tonight.
Okay, cool.
So if he isn't going to make it tonight, what I might well do is say we'll introduce him at a later point rather than in this scene.
Put 3 doom.
Fair point. Yeah, no, and I can do that. Yeah. All right, I'll be back in a couple with a drink.
Okay.
Cool. Hello.
I'm back. Here we go.
Hello, Louis.
Hello. Hello. Right, I'm trying to work out what I do need and what I don't need. I don't need my Conan dice out. I'm going to keep out that one. The others can go back in there. Yeah, I think carousing is one of those sections of the game that I really like, but it's going to take a few goes before I think anybody gets comfortable with making it flow.
It's the calculations for the skills and the focus and the attributes that I think need 2 or 3 days beforehand for people to think about, so they can work out what they want to do left with the remaining gold.
Yeah, it's that kind of stuff, and it's also it's getting to the point where it feels like a natural part of the story rather than, okay, which of these things are you going to do? It needs to feel like a part of the story that you're telling, but that will come with practice.
Yeah, congratulations on having a long rest. You've leveled up. Yeah, totally unrealistic.
Yeah, it kind of, okay, so what are we doing with that? So,
which is why I sat there and thought, well, actually, what would Genghis do with his gold?
Yeah,
and he wouldn't blow it on women and alcohol and stuff like that. He'd want to farm. He'd want to do something for his family, which is why that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. Right, we got everybody back.
I'm back.
Okay. So,
Charlie?
Yeah.
Yay, we're here.
You guys hit the door and kind of they throw wide open. In front of you is the throne room you've been in before. It's a big room. Marble pillars down both sides. Big vaulted ceiling, quite Kothian, quite Western. What you as players would think of as Western, but in this we think of as Northern, kind of medieval in its approach. Stained glass windows along the sides, with just kind of normal windows above. At the end of the throne room, there is the dais with the throne on it, stairs leading up to it. There are, there's guards dotted about. What is unusual in this case is the shadowy form standing in the middle of the courtroom. A dark figure, nearly 7 feet tall, with these large shadowy wings that have folded in, sort of half folded in behind it. At the thing's feet lies what you suddenly realize is the blackened and twisted body of one of the royal guards. Other guards around the hall have two of them are lying on the floor. Various of them are just backing away from this thing. The throne is empty, and you just, as you go in, spot Satabus limping around behind it. As you see this thing, I get... Right, let me find the right page. Come on, I printed it out specially. There we go. I've put it on the back of... Right, okay. So, now I needed to get rid of 3 Doom because I am... Because it doesn't look like Ollie is going to turn up. But just for this thing turning up in the scene, I pick up 2 Doom, which kind of replenishes that to some degree. I would like everybody to make me a D2 discipline test, just for seeing this ungodly sight in front of you.
So 2d20.
You can add momentum. You can...
We don't have any.
You can spend Doom in order to make it if you want to.
2 of them, Simon.
Yeah, sorry, I'll just roll the other one now.
What are we rolling against, Louis?
You're rolling again. It's a D2 discipline test.
Oh, fair enough then. Oh, I've got 1.
Is that the difficulty level?
Yeah, you need 2 successes.
Okay, I'll put a fortune into that.
All right, I will let you do that this once. Normally, you have to spend fortune up front.
Yeah.
Well,
okay. So Charlie not only failed, Charlie picked up a complication.
Yep.
I failed.
I failed with these.
Okay. Okay. So Charlie failed with a complication. Dougie's going to spend a fortune.
Yep.
Okay.
And
pass. Simon failed.
Yep. I've got target number 10 and I rolled a 13 and 18. So
okay. That's really bizarre. Both of you rolled a 13 and an 18. That's random dice rollers strength for you.
I totally failed to do that.
Okay. So Dougie is all right. Sorry, Genghis is all right. The other two of you, my life, seriously?
I did.
Wow. Okay. Blimey, that is quite right. Okay, so I'll do Baldor first.
What the flippin' hoobin'? As long as that ain't damaged, that's good.
Okay, so Baldor takes 5 points of resolve damage.
Ouch.
That's 4 effects.
With 4 effects, which have the okay. If one or more effects is that, okay. You also pick up the staggered condition. You can, for 4 doom. Is it 4 effects? 3 effects. 3 effects. Sorry, for 3 doom. You can throw that off straight away. Come on, staggered. I'm looking at the wrong place of paper.
That's a save at the end of your turn, Simon.
A stun. Yeah. The attack inflicts a staggered condition on the target. If one or more effects are rolled, the condition lasts until the end of the target's next turn. The target may ignore this at the cost of 1 doom for each effect rolled. Staggered character can perform only a standard action in a turn if the player is willing to pay 1 point of doom. Staggered action cannot perform a reaction unless spending 1 fortune point in addition to the reaction's normal doom cost.
But he can spend 1 fortune on his turn, can't he?
So to be fair,
So what he'd have to do is, instead of paying 3 doom to not be staggered, he'd pay 1 doom to have an action.
Yeah.
Then he could pay a fortune to guarantee a hit or whatever, and an attack is an action.
No. It's 1 doom to take a standard action, which is an attack. You cannot perform a reaction, so parry.
Taking fortune. Yeah, fortune's not a reaction.
You would have to spend fortune if you wanted to parry.
Yep.
But you wouldn't have to spend. So yeah, so you take 5, which is also, unless you have courage, which I don't think you've got any courage soak, means you take a mental harm.
No, I haven't got courage.
Okay, so that gives you 1 mental harm, which means that anything you're rolling against intelligence, personality, or willpower, you take it's 1 extra difficulty on top of what it normally would be, unless you spend. Where are we? It's unless
this only apply to me. That won't apply to anyone else.
That only applies to you. However, I'm about to roll because Actian also didn't pass.
Right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So you'd
5 in 1 effect.
take 5 and 1 effect. So likewise,
2.
you are
5 resolve.
2 effects.
1, 2, 3. No.
The 6 is 2 effects.
No, 6 is only 1 effect. 6 is only 1 effect.
Okay, so Simon only took 3 effects then.
Yep, he did. Yeah. Correct.
Yep, that's what I said. So he took 5. Simon took 5 damage, 3 effects. For the 5, the 5, and the 6 are 1 effect each, and the 2 is 2
damage.
So he took 5 damage and 3 effects, which are all going into stun. And Actian takes 1, 2, 5 damage and 1 effect, which likewise leaves you staggered unless you spend a doom to bypass that.
Or on my turn.
Oh, the other thing we need to do is roll for Kaya.
Do you want me to roll that as I'm not part of this?
Yeah, you can do. She's got it's a discipline test, isn't it? She's got a discipline of 8. You can burn Doom now if you want. You can spend Doom now if you want to in order to...
Has Khoraja got a focus in that?
She's got 1 focus.
Then I think she'd rather spend a fortune to get 2 successes.
Yep. Yeah. No, that's a good thought. Okay. So
and she'll roll 2 anyway on the off chance that she may get a momentum. No, but she's still got 2 successes.
Okay. Right, bear with me half a sec while I go.
So I've gained trauma now, where I gained my 5 damage.
Yeah, you've gained 1 trauma and
5 damage and some effect in a
5 result.
Staggered. Yeah.
And you're staggered. Yeah. So I need to make a quick note that leaves. So Baldur is staggered. Come on. And as is Actian.
And Cage is -1 fortune.
Yeah.
But I think she'd do that, to be honest.
Yeah. No, that's all good. Right. So, however, you do, this being Conan, have the initiative. You can take it to the fight. The other thing is this thing at the moment has its back to you.
Okay, so that's advantage on attack rolls?
No, you've still got to get to it. It's 20 foot away. It's 20 foot away from it. It's going to take you around to get to it.
Okay.
I did state that I'm going through with a bow drawn already, so I was ready for it. I did say arrow knocked and I'm kicking the doors in.
You did, but you've got to kick the door in. I'm not going to give you a surprise round as you're kicking the doors in. If the door's already open and this thing suddenly turned up, you could take an exploit action. But I don't think you can take an exploit action. You're bursting through the doors. The fact that you're only just spotting it as you take your action kind of cancels out the fact that it is aware that you're there. Oh, come on. Phone.
Is it vaguely humanoid?
Yeah, it's like a 7 foot tall human with large black wings.
Okay, I'm going to try and move in with my whip.
Okay.
But right. I'll shoot it first, I think, to allow Baldur to advance unopposed by arrow fire.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense given Baldur's reaction to seeing this. I think it makes sense to probably start with Genghis and Kaya's actions.
Okay, so I'm not moving. I'm taking my marksman, which gives me a momentum.
No, you've already moved this turn. You've just burst in through the doors and kicked the doors open. That counts as movement.
You play it that way, are you? No worries. In which case, 2d20. Oh, Scheizerhausen. That'll be no successes and a complication, sir.
And a complication.
He's going to say a door slams in his face.
But I'm the first one through, so
I am going to take 2 doom. I'm going to say the next person through. The next person through manages to hit your arm is why you miss. I'm just going to take the 2 points of doom as a payment for that complication. So yeah, you fire, but the arrow goes wide. Somebody want to make a discussion about what Kaya's doing?
Okay,
it's obvious. She'll just charge in.
I have a feeling I know.
She charges in.
Chop, chop, hack, hack, slash, slash.
Okay. So Kaya pulls out her. I definitely need a bigger screen on this PC.
Battle axe, probably.
Pulls out a battle axe. She got battle axe. She's got battle axe.
Yes, she has.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. No, it's all right. I'm just checking to see what the. Okay, so she pulls a battle axe. Dog sort of gets a shield firm on her arm, and she advances. Does anybody want to spend anything, or are you just going to roll 2d20?
I don't think she'd spend fortune this early with no momentum. She'd just hack and slash, chop, chop.
Okay. Right. Her melee is 13-3.
2d20 first.
Make a roll. Who wants to roll for it?
Well, then I will. What am I rolling?
2d20.
2d20. Ouch. 1 hit, 1 complication.
Right. Okay. 1 hit is enough. Kaya rolls.
So can we say the complication was her knocking my arm that knocked me off balance? That gave you 2 doom?
No. No. You've already spent that doom once. Nice try.
I tried. I
okay.
tried.
She does 6 damage dice.
She gets to reroll 2 of them.
Yeah, I think she does, doesn't she?
Yes, she does.
Okay, so somebody roll the 6 dice.
Simon, you've done the attack, so can you roll the damage?
Yeah.
66. So roll another 5.
So yeah, 66. She can re-roll 2 of them.
2, 4, 6, 7,
Reroll-
8,
reroll the 6 and
9.
a 4.
9 with 1 of no. Just re-roll the 4. 1d6.
Go on then.
9, 10. So that's 2 harms and 1 effect, Louis.
I'll make that 9.
2, 4, 6.
Oh, hang on. Yeah, no,
Six,
because the
7, 8, 9.
effect has intense. What's she got? Intense.
She's got vicious. Yeah.
So intense.
So that's 10.
Doesn't do anything, but the vicious does. Yes. Okay. Yeah. No. That's right. So yeah. So 10 points of damage. Right. Where's the armor soak on this thing? Blimey. Okay.
None.
Okay.
Is that either very good or none?
Okay. Right. Let me make a quick note of this. Okay. So 4 points of that are soaked up by its armor.
It's a heavy armor.
Still good.
6 go through. That's a harm.
That is. So 6.
And is that an extra point because of the harm?
Oh, hang on a sec. Right. Okay, so it does 1 wound. What did we say? It was a vicious and
intense.
Intense.
So a wound counts as an extra wound, isn't it?
Yeah, and it does 1 extra wound. So
that's 2 wounds.
Yeah. So you've just scored 2 wounds on this thing. Hell's teeth! I was not expecting that to go that quickly.
Baldur acting.
It's going to cost me 1 point of doom to go early.
We've already started, though.
I'm going to interrupt the initiative. I'm going to spend 1 point of doom. Now, Kaya rolled a complication.
Yep.
You know what? I'm going to take. I want to take the doom. I want to take the doom because anything that I think of is potentially. I need to think about complications more. Right. Okay. So I am definitely going to spend a doom, and then I'm going to spend 2 more for. I'm going to spend 3 more. Why not?
You could say, Louis, that actually she goes so aggressive that she falls prone at his feet, but the wound actually attacks his lower legs.
I thought about that. It's the concept of then I have to deal with the fact that she's prone, which is not going to do her any favors at all. Because
that's the point of a complications, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd rather have the doom and just spend the dice at the moment than murder Belle's character.
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
While she's, I mean, on saying that, she's still getting a 5d20, but this thing's got 2 wounds, so the difficulty to hit is going to be 3. So I need to roll 5d20.
Miss, hit.
Okay. It's 10, combat is 2, so it's a 12. Oh, my life.
Hit, miss.
This was not going the way I thought it would. Okay. Yeah. No, it just misses. It just misses. Okay, which leads us to Baldur and Axe.
Does the 6 not hit?
Yeah, but she because
difficulty rating of 2. Wounds, yeah,
the difficulty rating's gone up. Damn.
Nice.
Done a bloody mental attack.
Baldur acting.
Okay, I'll go next because I'm going to get in there and try to hit it with my whip.
Okay, so you're going to have to spend doom in order to take a standard action. So you can move up on it, but it's going to cost you a doom in order to be able to shrug off the staggered.
Yeah, I'll spend a doom.
Okay.
Is that for this turn, Louis, or permanently?
Well, it staggered only lasts for 1 round.
So that permanently does away with the stagger. Good.
Got rid of. Well,
cool.
No, because he's still going to have to spend a fortune if he wants to parry. Or take a reaction. But yeah, no, that's.
Okay, so we got no momentum out of all of that.
Nope.
Nope.
Not yet.
Okay, so I'm just going to roll 2d20 then and see if it hits.
Okay.
It's already taken 2 wounds anyway, which is good.
I think one of those is a hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of those is a hit.
What's the reach of a whip? Just so I know.
2 or 3.
It's not going to make any difference. If this thing doesn't have
3.
Okay. Damn. Okay. Yeah. Right. So that's how many? That's 1 hit or 2 hits?
That's well, my target number was 13 and my focus was 2. So
okay.
It's only 1 hit.
1.
So 1. Okay. There is unfortunately no point in me spending in order to parry. I don't think, given that it's going to take me. I don't think there's any point. Yeah, it's going to be difficulty of 3 for me to do anything. Mind you, you've only hit me. Yeah, no, I'm not going to parry. Okay, because I should have said it up front anyway. Right. So, in which case, roll your damage.
Yes, you got the grapple effect. Nice one. 3 damage and 1 effect.
Okay. 3 damage and 1 effect.
It's grappled.
Yep.
Okay, so you did 3 damage to it, which isn't going to go through its armor.
Nope.
The grapple is a single effect. Right.
It's like a strength check in its next roll, isn't it?
Yeah, I think though it gets to try and break it. Right, and instead target is unable to move or take action except to attempt an acrobatics or athletics check with a difficulty equal to the number of effects rolled.
On its turn.
Yeah.
It's on the start of its turn, not the end.
Difficulty of the exploit action is reduced by 1 step. If the grappling weapon is a melee weapon, wielder's weapon may not. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. You've managed to. Your whip has managed to wrap around this thing.
Okay.
Action.
That's an exploit, isn't it?
Right.
No, it doesn't count as an exploit. It lowers the difficulty of an exploit action by 1. And I'm pretty sure an exploit is a standard action. Yeah, exploit is a standard action. So you could spend this round exploiting in order to get a bonus on your next attack. But it takes you a standard action to do that.
Is that what he's going to do? But he won't be grappled probably by next turn.
That's anyone, though, isn't it? So if Charlie, for example, decided to exploit, everyone would get the advantage of that.
No, only the person who makes the exploit check gets the exploit. Because it's basically, if Action decides to do an exploit this turn, it means that what he's doing is studying the creature, looking for where to hit it to do that damage.
I mean, I've got to spend a doom because I've got to take an action. So if I take a doom and do an exploit as my action.
Yeah, you could do that.
Can I take a doom and move forward and do the exploit?
Yeah.
Right, okay. I'll move it in 5 feet then. So I'm spending 1 doom.
Okay.
Moving 5 feet and do an exploit.
Okay. Why 5 feet?
Because I want to be close enough in case it moves.
Okay.
I want to be close enough to the other 2 in case I decide to parry for some reason.
Okay. Okay.
Even though it's grappled.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. In which case, you take that action. The guards are still staggering. The 2 guards behind you just kind of scream and fall back. And we go to the top of the round because he has already taken his action because I interrupted the initiative when I did.
I think we should let Kaya go first.
No, I think we should do it the same order we did it in, so Doug can fire.
Doug, go.
Yeah, so I am not moving.
Okay.
I'm using my minor to focus my shot to hit him.
I am trying to work out whether or not to say you are firing into combat, which in my head should put up the difficulty of the shot.
But he's bigger than us.
He is bigger than you, but he doesn't want to hit you.
No. No, I mean, he's shooting at something bigger than us.
Yeah. So I'm having a quick look to see whether or not.
I mean, if it was a different range than my optimal, I'd say yes, it's probably more difficult. But I'm tuned to fighting at things at this range.
The bow is tuned to fighting at things at this range, but you've got 3. You've got 2 combatants in melee with it.
But the thing that I would say that would keep it at the same difficulty is the fact that it's grappled at the moment, so it's not moving anywhere.
Oh no, it can still move. It's going to be towing around. It's going to be fighting Baldur against doing that, but
so it's not a straightforward move then, for sure.
No, you still got. It's not statically standing there waiting for its next punch.
And Charlie's not in melee yet anyway,
no.
So it's only really
Kaya and Baldor.
Simon, well, Baldur's on a reach 3, so he's not really close to it.
Oh, he is.
So
He's a reach 3 is still kind of within distance. It's more difficult.
It's broadsword range. It's like 4 foot away, isn't it?
3 foot away, maybe. It's pretty close, and it's not like they're stood off at either side. It's a moving melee. I'm going to say it's 1 extra difficulty to fire into moving melee. I think that's fair.
Okay. Well, I will still take the momentum on my hit dice. So that's 3d20.
No, hang on, no. The momentum you get for not moving, you can't spend on that. It's you gain an extra momentum if you hit it.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's used to exploit. Once you've spent it, if you don't spend it on that, it can roll over into the pool.
I thought I read differently to that.
I promise you, it's on a successful test.
Ranged weapons. We're making an attack with a ranged weapon. No, that's not the one. Which one is it? Marksman. You perform a ranged attack with precision. You may misspend 1 minor action before attempting a ranged attack. Put a little more effort into your time and attack. When you do this, you gain 1 momentum for the attack. So you gain an additional momentum for the attack.
Yeah, you gain 1 additional momentum for the attack. If it's an additional momentum, you have to manage to hit before you get that momentum.
Okie dokie, that's fine. I'll take that.
I'm pretty sure it counts as an immediate spend, is the way the game describes it.
Okay, so that's a difficulty 2. 2d20. I'm just going to roll the 2d20. It's not worth a fortune yet. 8 and 11. That is a 2. So that is 2 successes. So that is 1 momentum.
Yep.
So I will roll 5d6, and I completely forgot about my volleys if I wanted to do it, but hey. So
I'm going to
5d6.
I'm going to not give you the token now for the momentum because the chances are you're going to spend it straight away on extra damage. But
1, 2, 3 plus an effect. I'll roll 2d6 there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I will use the 1 to bypass armor, making that a full 4 points of damage rather than an additional point of damage that will probably get soaked. So yeah,
that momentum spend for penetration it ignores an amount of soak equal to twice the momentum spent. So you've got 1, 2, 3.
So I bypass 2.
5. So you got 5 points of damage going in. It's got 4 points of armor. You bypass 2. That's 3 points of damage.
Yep.
Okay. That is actually enough to drop it to 0 vigor, which means it takes another wound.
Boom!
It's decidedly not going its way.
Khoraja.
I am going to spend a point of doom to interrupt. And I am going to spend 3 points for additional, because I've got to do something here.
Die.
Okay. Right. So I need to make 5d20, and I am making a threaten attack. I am making a mental attack. It's an area attack, which I'm pretty sure means that it hits everybody.
What size is the area?
That's a point.
It's everybody.
It's probably only close. It is probably only close. Yeah, it is only close range, which means that Kaya is not included, but Actian, because he moved forwards, is.
Khoraja is. She's battered
Sorry,
him.
not Khoraja, Actian.
Yeah.
Genghis is outside. Actian is now within.
So all three by me.
So right, this is going to be based on. I coloured these and then I printed it out black and white, and it means it's really difficult to see what I'm doing.
That's got to be
personality.
4 or 5.
12. 1, 2, 3.
What is it? 12-2.
4, 5. Yeah, 12-2. That's a 5 successes.
2, 3, 4, 5. Yep.
Okay.
Minus is 2, damn. Minus is 2, he loses, yeah.
No, because it's a psychic attack, not physical.
That's why I did it. It might be wounded, but it can still do that. Okay, so
and you can't parry it.
Yeah, this thing turns around, and you realise as it turns towards you that what you thought was a cowl over its head is not. It is part of its head, and the hood inside it appears more. It appears deeper than the cowl could possibly be, and this thing just screams a sound which is almost indescribable at you. You can make a reaction against threatened attacks, and I'm pretty sure that is a discipline, but will cost you a doom. I think that's the way that works. With threatened attacks.
But you got to decide, guys. Can you beat a 5?
Yeah, that is a fair point. You would need
to beat
5 successes. So in which case, it does its full 8 dice of damage again. Do you guys want me to roll this as a single, or do you want me to roll it against? So I can roll it once and then apply the same thing to everybody, or roll it for each of you.
Roll it once and apply it to everyone. Otherwise, we're going to be here all night.
Yeah. Okay. Ooh.
Ouch. 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10.
I'm out of resolve. I've only got
10 mental and 4 effects.
Okay. 10 mental and 4 effects. Okay, so you take you're going to take 2 harm from that straight away. That will be 2 mental harm. So you lose.
How will fortune help them, Louis?
I'm trying to think what the fortune. You always ask these questions when I can't remember what the answer is. Armor and soak.
That's deliberate.
Fortune soak. Fortune soak, fortune soak, fortune soak. You can spend it to overcome it. Okay, 119, 120. Right, stress and harm. You can only create so much.
Ollie's here.
Hi, Ollie.
Hey. He's on mute.
About time.
Does he know he's on mute?
No, he's not.
He's not now.
Yes, he did know.
You know what? Oh, hang on. No, it was soaking damage. Damage types, physical damage, hit locations, total soak. I think I might have made this creature slightly too tricky to fight. Right, mental damage.
So how much resolve do we take and how much trauma?
2 kinds of soak.
Well, what I'm trying to find out, Charlie, is if we can use fortune to reduce them harms.
I don't know that you can when you take them. I mean, basically, you're taking. Crap. I don't know. Is the honest answer? You're taking.
Sorry, Louis.
Damage.
How many?
You're taking 10 resolve damage each.
I'm out because I've only got 4 left.
Well, I've only got 5 left. That's me down as well.
Okay.
Is that 2 traumas as well?
How many traumas have you guys taken so far?
1.
None at all.
Okay. So
that's another 2 traumas for me.
Actian basically passes out. You've hit 4 traumas. You are incapacitated.
No, three traumas.
3.
You're going to take
2 more traumas.
1. You're going to take 3 more traumas.
3 more. Why 3 more?
Yeah. You take 1 for losing
5 twice. Yes, that's 2.
5 twice, and you also have lost all of your resolve, which counts as another.
All right,
trauma.
so 3 traumas.
So that's 3 traumas, which
1 more
puts you
trauma
on
and
4. Well, luckily, if you're incapacitated with terror,
yeah,
you're unlikely to take another trauma.
So if I cross out the rest of resolve now, I've got no resolve and 3 traumas, 4 traumas.
And 4 traumas.
Yeah.
Yeah, Baldur is down to if you haven't taken any trauma previously and it wipes out your resolve, that's going to drop you your 3 traumas. Your 3, yeah. Is it trauma?
Yeah, trauma off resolve. That's
Yeah.
why I don't understand why you're using the word harm. It doesn't make any sense.
Because wounds and trauma are both harm rather than.
Are wounds vigor or resolve? No, go on. Yeah. So wounds are wound.
Wounds are physical harm. Trauma is mental harm.
Yeah. Go on. Go.
So Simon's got no mental hit points left.
Yep, and I've taken 3 trauma.
Yeah. So the next time that either of you, if you've got none left, it means the next time that you take any damage at all in that respect, you take a trauma.
Yeah. So if I get hit again, I've got 5 traumas.
Yeah. At which point the character's bye.
Yeah.
So I would suggest that Actian probably
lays on the floor and doesn't do anything.
I would suggest
he's got no choice in the matter.
Out from it. I can't remember what incapacitated does. I wasn't expecting to get that far.
You hit the floor, you drop your weapons, you do nothing.
Yeah, I think it probably is. Okay, so I've lost track. So okay, so Genghis shot it.
Yep.
It turned and screamed its defiance back.
How did that affect Khoraja?
Well, how did that affect Khoraja? That is a very, very good point. She will have taken the same damage as the rest of you, which will have taken her. Yep, that will have done her 3 trauma as well. So she is still up. She can still attack it.
Yep.
If she wants to.
But it's her go now.
I can spend a fortune point to move. I can take
when you're unconscious.
Spend a fortune point. No, I can spend a fortune point to take an action.
Is that through stun, or is that
if a character suffers 4 points of wounds or 4 points of trauma, the character becomes incapacitated. Okay. It can only take an action by spending a fortune point.
Okay. So yeah, you can take an action.
Yep, go on. It's not my go. Go on.
No. Let Khoraja go first though, because you might not need to, Charlie.
Yep.
Okay. Do you just want to roll 2d6? Do you just want to roll 2d20 for Khoraja, or do you want to
spend a doom?
Spend doom to...
But she's not taking any physical damage. It's mental.
Mental damage.
So she only needs 1 success on a d20, did she?
Yeah, she will only need 1 success on a d20 to hit.
But if she gives you a doom, that's an extra d20 for her.
Yeah.
So I think she'll give you a doom.
If you give me 1 doom, the other thing is she gets 2 dice for that 1 doom. Because that's
okay, so
that's balance.
So that's 4d20.
4d20 to roll.
Okay, yeah, she'll do that then.
Okay, roll them bones.
Boom.
That's 5, I think.
Yep.
That is 5 for Khoraja, isn't it?
Yes, because she's a 3. 13-3, yeah.
Yeah, damn. Okay. That suddenly earned a shed load of momentum.
4 momentum.
That's 4 momentum. I will make a note of that. I will put it in the pool depending on how much of it you end up spending.
So she rolls the 6d6 in her damage die outright.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and an effect. And she re-rolled 2 of them. So that's already 5 and an effect.
One, Doug.
No, she re-rolls 2, mate.
She re-rolls 2.
Well, she can.
5, 6, 7, 8, and 2 effects.
8 and 2 effects.
With a vicious and intense.
That's 10 effects straight out, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's definitely 2 wounds because one of those is enough for a wound. Okay.
Yeah. So that makes 3 wounds, actually.
Yeah. It only had 2 wounds left. Yeah. Okay. So tell me describe how that looks. Describe how she hits it, where she hits it.
Okay. So as Genghis fires a shot that hits this thing, it retaliates in rage and screams that makes Khoraja, Baldur, and Actaeon bleed from their ears in agony. So Actaeon and Baldur hit the floor. Khoraja virtually hits the floor, but manages to put her hand down, steadying herself. And as she comes up, she swings in an upward arc, cleaving it from bottom right left ribs to top right neck, virtually cleaving it in 2 diagonally.
Okay. As she does so, it evaporates. Literally evaporates. And it just the darkness of it just kind of burns away like smoke, just disappearing.
Like it wasn't really there.
All that is left is this dark stain on the floor to show that it was ever there before. The guards that were trying to edge in towards it, 2 of them are just gibbering uncontrollably on the floor. But yeah, you've taken this thing down.
Okay, so for the first time since we've been together as a party, I'm showing genuine concern for Actaeon and Baldur, and I am heading over to them to make sure they're okay.
Okay. The horror of this thing has seriously screwed with your mind. Actaeon slightly more than Baldur, and Khoraja as well are rocked, but Actaeon is genuinely you're gripping onto your sanity with your fingernails when this thing finally evaporates. It's going to take some degree of working through to manage to get your head around what you've just seen.
Yeah, I'm keeping the guards from him, both him and Baldur.
None of the guards want to move into the wall. They're off at the sides. Nobody is willing to step into this room.
Okay, so I can see physically they're okay if they're not mentally okay.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, you tell me. I don't think anybody took any physical damage from this thing.
No. In which case, I'm going to scan the room very quickly to see if I can firstly identify the source of the scream and find out if they needed help.
You are guessing that this blackened, twisted corpse on the floor is probably the person that screamed.
Okay. Interesting. Is Neferet and Amunet in the room?
No.
Okay, then I'm not concerned about anyone else in the room at the moment other than Baldur, Actaeon, and Khoraja.
Okay. Yeah, guys, talk me through what you're doing.
I think Baldur's just going to fall to his knees. Obviously there was great horror. Is there anyone in the room that's making any kind of noise about it?
There's some muffled weeping, to be honest, coming from a number of burly-looking guys of whom you would not
What about the
expect
mercenaries?
The mercenaries went to follow you into the room and just recoiled from what was there. To be honest,
I think Baldor's just going to fall to his knees and collapse on the floor. Sit there rocking himself for about 5 minutes.
Is this the end of an action scene then?
Yeah.
So we can rub out all the.
Yeah, you can, but move away from.
Yeah,
move away from that. Yeah, you can reset vigor and you can reset resolve.
Yeah.
You can't reset wounds.
No.
Or trauma.
I'm going to seeing Baldor now lying on the floor after he's tried to get up. He needs a bit of time to himself. I'm going to offer a hand to Actaeon.
So harm must be treated by appropriate skill. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, Charlie.
Yeah.
Move beyond it. We'll deal with mechanics later.
Okay.
Charlie, let's all play it. Yeah. So
Okay,
Baldor's. No, you're not. I've just offered you a hand.
You can bring him round. You can definitely bring him round.
Okay.
Okay. I used a hand and I sort of tap him round the face. Action.
Okay. So I'll break up.
I sort of look at him, stare in the eyes, and go, "You okay?
I think so.
You sure?"
Not yet. Not absolutely certain. No.
Okay, I get up and then offer him a hand to get him onto his feet.
Okay. As Ollie's joined us, Aladai gets. How are you pronouncing that, Ollie?
Like that.
Aladai, right? Aladai, you've been called to the court to the roll court. You arrived not late, but not as early as the other guys. Kind of borderline late. As you got there, the doors were open, and there was definitely something full on going on inside the courtroom when you got to the antechamber. You get there just in time to see them attacking some 7-foot tall winged shadow-like shape, the freakiest damn thing you've seen, certainly probably ever, but certainly this side of the river Styx. Sorry,
recently.
Yeah, certainly this side of the river Styx. It's and it lets out this scream that even at the distance you were from it, kind of you can feel it clawing at your soul. Before Kaya just mashes through this thing with her axe, and it evaporates. So at the same point as Genghis is moving in and trying to make sure that Actaeon is alive and there, and as Baldor kind of just sinks to his knees, you're on the doorstep to the throne room.
Okay, so probably not what he was expecting to see.
No, funnily enough,
takes a moment and just kind of looks around to see if the thing's moved off, but after a moment just tries to regain his composure. Notices that there's some blood on one side of his cloak, which he kind of tries to cover up quickly, and then walks over and says, okay, that wasn't what I was expecting to see today. Is anyone wounded?
Kaya is just 1,000-yard stare, white knuckles on both hands as she's gripping this axe.
Aladai would kind of try and go over her and try and be like, It's okay. You got it. You can and try and just lower the axe. Just it's gone now, and you just kind of do this.
And I think Genghis would say, "I advise not getting too close. Not at the moment."
No. You might be right. And he would it'd take a step away, but he's keeping his eyes on her and just would keep repeating, "It's okay. You're okay."
So I spoke to Baldur, I spoke to Action. I would position myself in front of Khoraja where she could see me now, and I would quietly talk to her whilst moving forward. I think we've done enough together now that I think she'd recognise my voice, even in this. And calmly, quietly, I'd say, "The beast is gone. You've done fantastically. Please, you can relax now. It is safe."
Okay, out of the corner of your eye, you notice as Kaya's grip just starts to relax gently on the axe, but she's still definitely not meeting your eyes. Out of the corner of your eyes, you see a couple of the guards start to move towards the throne, and you hear some just in the background. You hear some kind of muffled sounds there, but yeah, Kaya gradually kind of just her grip isn't quite as full on the axe, and you can see her starting to take some really big deep breaths.
So I'm going to walk very close to Khoraja and gently rest one hand on each shoulder and just say, "You can relax. That's it. Keep breathing. That's good." And I'm not going to try to take her axe because I don't think she'd like that, but I'm just going to carry on easing her as she is now, and to get her relaxing and sort of try and come into herself a little bit.
Okay.
Aladai would walk over to where he believes the thing was positioned and just look at the ground, look above, and just see if there's any sign that it was there.
The only sign is this stain on the marble floor. Would you reach out and touch that, or just look at it from a bit of a distance?
He'd probably get quite close, but he might. In fact, he'd probably kind of crouch down next to it and reach to touch, and then kind of bring his hand back, and anyone vaguely close might hear him mutter, "No, we're not doing that again." And then he'd just kind of chuckle to himself and get up.
Yeah,
I don't know what that was, but not from around here.
So what was the name of that snob noble on the way in, Louis?
No, they were mercenaries on the way in.
And what was his name, beginning with M? Manla. Yeah. So while I'm calming Khoraja, I would turn, look him in the eye, and just grin.
He is for a really, really black guy. He is pale, and the guys that he's with are visibly shaken by what they've seen.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at him, staring him out, grinning.
They are just exchanging glances and shaking their heads.
Okay, Baldur's going to get up, going to walk to his quarters. Before he leaves the room, he'll look at someone who looks like the head guard and say, "I'll be in my room," and just march off to whatever room.
Okay, just before you, as you stand and you start to walk out, you hear the voice of Satabus from up by the throne, and he just sort of calls out to you and says, "Yeah, you saw him disappear around the back of the throne." He calls out, "What the hell was that?" And you can hear in his voice he's seriously as freaked as everybody else is.
Okay, Baldur's going to turn around to him, look at him, and say, "I don't know my liege, but I intend on finding out."
The fact it appeared here indicates it was sent after you. I don't think this is the end of it.
He pales, and there's a guy standing just behind him who you haven't seen before, and he likewise is very, very pale. I've got a description of him to hand. Pretty sure I have somewhere. Oh, come on. I thought I'd done a really good job of writing all this out, and I now can't find the descriptions that I'm pretty sure are there. Yeah, the guy standing behind him is kind of heavily bearded. Looks Shemish, possibly. And yeah, no, he's really pale as well, and the two of them just exchange a glance, and he looks back, and Satabus looks back and says, if one came, will there be more?
That's a fair assumption.
Completely amidst all this tense, Allardyce would point at the other guy and go, "I don't know you."
He looks at you and says, "I would hope not," and then just looks back to Satabus.
I think I'd look at Allardyce and go, "And we don't really know you."
Oh no! By this point, you've known him a week or two. You've travelled in. You were on the road a week or two before you got here. So you kind of got a vague idea who he is. You don't know him that well, but it's not like you met him this afternoon.
No, but based on how elusive he was at the well, I'm willing to bet that our week of travel revealed little, if nothing more than we already knew when we first met him.
A little bit.
You got a name?
Yeah, but Allardyce would laugh at that remark anyway.
I'm going to take one look at the pair of them I'm standing over by the throne and say, perhaps you better find someone who knows about sorcerous monsters, because it's certainly not me. And with your leave, I will be in my room and turn and walk out.
I would look quickly at Satabus and go, our friend here has proven his wealth for gold quite elusively, and this is beyond our meager rewards for the last mission. I think is where he is going.
Okay. The rewards for the last mission were pretty fair given what you were signed on to do, but yeah, okay. Just so you know, I'm not saying you can't say that, but it's a fair amount of gold you've had.
I'm not disputing that, but half demonic creatures that can batter you to bits with a shriek. Yeah, that's above and beyond what we were paid for last time.
I don't know, the thing that you saw in the cigarette just as you were leaving, this thing pales into insignificance next to that. But yeah.
That was a flying spaghetti monster. Everyone knows that.
Okay.
And I've just not Louis for 6 again.
Okay, so I'm gonna jump this forwards and say early evening. the word comes out to ask you to meet with Satabus again in a private room for a meal. You have all had a chance to find an opportunity to try and get yourself together. In mechanical terms, you can reset your mental resolve, but not your traumas yet.
I think I'd spend however long it was until we got called for dinner, reassuring the members of our party. I think it's pretty fair that Baldur wants to be alone, so I think we'd leave him alone. Whereas Actian and Kaja probably seem a bit tighter. Yeah, probably seem a bit tighter. So I wouldn't be there at their beck and call, but I'd be doing everything I can to try and reassure them, calm them down, and bring them back.
Okay. We'll get into what we do about the actual... It's trauma, isn't it?
Trauma, yep.
Yeah. We'll get into what we do about the trauma later, but for the moment, so if you guys attend the meal, is that okay with everybody?
Yeah.
Okay.
Aladai would nearly be late again.
Yeah, they would. You are staying in the palace, so you probably
still be late.
he can, yes. So yeah, you guys are summoned up. You notice that the guards they have got are not the normal guards. These are there are royal bodyguards that are way more on display than you would expect to see, and there are several full-on Khoraja knights who've obviously come up from the barracks in the city, who are double guarding on every corridor. So yeah, you get invited, you get taken into a smallish dining room. I mean, certainly compared to the size of the dining rooms that are regularly around the place. And Satabus is there. Neferet is there. You don't see Amunet at the moment. And likewise, this thin Shemite guy that was in the room is there as well. Yeah, they invite you in. As far as you guys all get in there, you are escorted there under guard. You're not marched as prisoners, but they come and pick you up and then take you through there because the security is so tight.
Are we adorned with weapons or disarmed?
No, you're allowed to keep your weapons with you.
That would be my concern. If they could appear anywhere, I'd want to be able to react at any time.
Yeah. Okay, so they bring you in, and a good meal is set on the table in front of you. How much you feel like eating is entirely down to you. Certainly, Satabus and the guy that he introduces as Ashe is they don't seem to be as hungry as you would maybe expect. So yeah, they introduce Ashe to you, and they ask you to hold anything that is said within the room to secrecy, and get you to confirm that anything you are told in the room will remain within the room. So unless anybody is going to disagree with that.
No.
Okay. Ashe has been working for Satabus and for the city of Khoraja in Akbitana. The language they use is muted, but basically he's been a spy. And he outlines various pieces of information that you really weren't aware of. A couple of you may have heard that Akbitana, which is so Akbitana, just in case you don't remember, was one of the Shemish city states that your army was attacked by. In fact, they were the city state that you were going to rescue or going to help. So they your army, Satabus's army, went to the aid of Ulam Kala to help Akbitana against Shamir, and then you were ambushed by both sides. The new Grand Vizier of Akbitana is a man called Knufis. Nobody was even aware of him more than 2 years ago. Nobody's sure where he came from. For him to arrive and to end up even at the court in such a short time is unusual. For him to end up as the vizier is unheard of. And he seems to be, from what Ashe can tell, behind the recent actions of Ulam Kala. There we go. Including the plot to destabilize Khoraja. He is currently preparing the army of Akbitana to march over the mountains and wage war on the city of Kalchis, which is in southern Koth. And this is a bizarre concept. For Shem to go to war with Koth is really odd. And certainly to attack a small city like Kalchis, there are far bigger Kothian states. It's not even a good prime foothold into the country given its location. So it's odd that he's focusing on that, but Ulam Kala is definitely going that way. That's what he's doing, and it seems to be at the bidding of this new vizier. The sources that he has uncovered suggest that he is using the military assault to search for the talisman of Tardessa. I'll tell you more of Tardessa in a while. He seems to know that it's somewhere near the city of Kalchis in southern Koth, but he isn't sure where it is, other than it lies within the Silver Cave. So that is all that he knows. He believes that they are hoping that the Kothians will move against Khoraja, as Khoraja is in a weakened state, and therefore will be paying less attention to the southern borders, and in particular Kalchis. So to summarize, what they have done is to certainly weaken, if not they haven't destabilized, but they've weakened Khoraja in the hopes that the Kothians will attack that while they go looking for the talisman of Tardessa in southern Koth. But they're doing it based on well, we took care of the Khorajans. Now we need to do something about these damn Kothians. And if you can get enough people interested in that, then you can maybe swing that. So is there anything before I carry? I don't want to just narrate masses of this with one thing after another. There is more information.
Okay, Paola's going to look pointedly at the pair of them and say, "What do you want us to do? Just tell us. We don't need to know the background information. Tell us what you want us to do. Do you want us to go and find this silver cave and see if we can get this talisman before it's required? Do you want us to go and assassinate this vizier? What do you want us to do?"
Because we can arrange that.
Ashe looks at Aladai and says, to try to assassinate Canufis would be incredibly difficult.
I was just making a point. I agree that would be, yeah, not the easiest thing in the world. But carry on with what you were saying.
Satabus says, I'm unsure of the best move forwards. The dark magic, the sorcery that I see is terrifying, to be honest. The fact that a creature like that even exists, let alone one that it will appear in the mists of my throne room, is unbelievable.
In all fairness, Your Majesty, I know not a lot about magic, but the power required, I believe, to summon a creature that powerful right in your doorstep can't be readily available. There must have been some form of sacrifice or something to do that. So to try something like that again must take some time.
Satabus looks at Neferet and she nods. And she says, I likewise, this is not a small magic. This is difficult and dangerous. Whoever sent that creature, as you describe it, must have been of great power. Aladai, I need to point out, because I know you would have known this because you've met her before. Neferet is Stygian. Her and her sister are both Stygian nobility.
Okay.
She says from the story that Ashe's told her, she says there were certain books that she read in Luxor in Stygia, and she knows that the Silver Cave is the resting place of the talisman. She also knows that the entrance is behind, is hidden, she believes, behind a statue in the tomb of Taleg Thotsta. However, she likewise doesn't know the location of the tomb. She recalls, though, that she had conversations with a young priestess of Set called Karmat, who claimed to have discovered the location of the tomb. The two planned to share their knowledge to see if they could discover any more about the mystery. It was something interesting, unusual. And then Karmat vanished one night on pilgrimage between Kemi and Luxor and just went. Neferet believes that she ran away. She was captured as a child, as a slave, and other than she is in other than she was originally from somewhere in Shem, Karmat didn't know who her parents were or where she was taken from. So where they would be, where you could look for her, she's really not sure. The only thing she can think is to try and track down the slave trader who originally sold her into slavery, originally sold her to the Stygians. Normally that wouldn't be easy. A slave is a slave, but one taken by Stygia for a priestess would be unlikely to be quickly forgotten by any slave trader, not least of which because they wouldn't have been paid for her. They would have been taken and largely have been grateful that they got out with their skins. That is all she can suggest. I can send you the details of what you've been told. I'll do that via messenger. I've also got some stuff on the legend of the Talisman of Tardessa, which I can send you as well. I would like you guys to make me a law check. You can, if you want to, work together to do that.
Sounds like our best plan.
I will assist anyone as I suck.
Okay, my law is 9 and 1.
Mine's 7. So it sounds like Simon's to me.
Yeah, mine's 9 and 1.
So if Charlie does a roll to help, so if Actian does a roll to help Baldur, and I do a roll to help new man, haven't got your name yet, Aladai. Would that work?
You could do it that way. You're probably going to get more successes if you each roll to help one person who then makes the roll.
So the person who makes the roll, who's it going to be?
Well, Simon's in roll 20, he may as well do it.
Yep.
Okay.
So 4d20.
Oh, I haven't invited Ollie to the.
I was going to mention that at
game. Sorry.
some point.
So in fact, does Simon roll 4 or 5?
5, I think.
It's his original 2 plus 1 for each edition, isn't it?
No, it's okay. So what happens is everybody rolls 1d20,
Except Simon.
And find out whether or not you get a success. And those successes are then forwarded to Simon.
You can have a success for me, Simon.
Same.
No. Don't fail.
That's 2. So I'm rolling 2d20, Louis.
So you now roll 2d20.
Which both fail.
No. Okay. So that gives you 2 successes.
2 successes.
Okay. On 2 successes, I would say there is a caravan owner who spends a fair amount of time in a bar that you know. It's the same one where the fight broke out and Actian had to pay for a new window.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's talked about deals that he made in the past with Shemish slavers. So he might be somebody that you could talk to see if you could get an idea of who that would be.
Do we have a name?
No, because I haven't given him a name, to be honest, and I should have done, but I haven't.
Sorry, Louis.
The caravan owner.
But
Slavai.
I think I think what I would say is Actian's the guy that ended up having the conversation with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's one of about 6 names floating round your head. And if you hadn't been so drunk whilst telling stories with him, you might be able to put your finger on just which one it was. But you know him because he's got this really big, bristling black beard, which is unusual on the Kothians there. But yeah.
I'd recognise him if I saw him again.
You'll recognise him, and you're fairly sure you could probably find him. He drinks in there. You've seen him a few times, but exactly what his name is isn't coming quite to...
It's right down the tip of my tongue, but God knows.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to say to Satabus, what exactly is this talisman and why are they after it?
Okay. The talisman of Tardessa. Okay. Barely after the fall of Acheron, as Western Koth was recovering from its dark times of occupation, the sorcerer Tardessa led an army that attacked the new kingdoms of the West. Crossing the deserts from Kashan was held to be impossible. Nobody thought it could be done, but Tardessa kept his army alive, legends say, through some sorcery. They overcame Shebeta and Zambula before turning east along the Zaporozhye River. I managed to name it properly, towards what is now Shem. The location of the final battle is long forgotten history, lost beneath the sands. Scholars believe it may have been somewhere near the city of Shushan in far eastern Shem.
So it sounds like some means of either producing water or protecting them from the elements.
The talisman is whispered of in ancient legends as having the power to corrupt men's souls. And with his final breath, Tardessa is supposed to have given a prophecy that the talisman would one day bring about the subjugation of all lands west of the Viliat Sea on black wings of death.
Okay. It's quite dark then.
It then vanished.
Where have we seen that before?
Black wings of death is a common phrase for prophecies, isn't it?
Also true.
Yeah.
Okay. Does Satabus know about the flying purple spaghetti monster that flew out of the pit?
I think you were the only person that saw it, weren't you?
I was.
In which case, how much would you have told the rest of the group? How much would you have told Neferet?
At the time, probably very little. I think this is probably the point to let Satabus know. At the end of the day, he's el boss, el employee, and payer of wages.
Okay, so what do you want to tell them about the thing you saw in the ziggurat?
So while we're talking about what he wants to do, I step in and go, excuse me, Your Majesty. Whilst we were rescuing Amunet with Neferet in the ziggurat, you're aware of the big battle that ensued? I'm sure you've been debriefed on that already.
Indeed. I've heard the stories.
Well, needless to say that once the battle was concluded and the rest of my colleagues were making their way out, that anger overtook me over the needless death of fellow mercenaries, fellow battle-hardened warriors. So I started depositing bodies into the pit. And whilst I did so, this brains tentacle thing came out.
Okay. You have pretty much everybody's attention at the moment.
Okay. It obtained the largest creature that we fought and absorbed it into itself. I fired an arrow before I ran, and its presence was such that it was shaking the entire building down whilst it came from the depths of hell. There is something else potentially alive on this world, or soon to be alive on this world, that I need to be worried about.
Did it make any noises?
What he said.
Like that. It was taking dead bodies and absorbing them. And my arrow seemed to do nothing, even though it hit.
Yes, well.
I got the feeling that it was still bound there, but I believe the ritual was far enough that it will not remain there for long.
So we need to look to Zuhul-Sar, as well as potentially to Akbitana. We are beset on all sides.
I felt it best you knew, rather than happen without you knowing.
Thank you for the information. Have you mentioned that you might be able to track down the slaver?
I don't think Actian has mentioned that.
No, I haven't mentioned it. Not yet.
So I'm going to kick him under the table so he remembers to mention it.
No, I'm just trying to get a
bit of role play going on.
In
which case, I'm going to kick Charlie under the table so he gets a bit of role play going on.
Okay, yep. So, yeah, I did meet this caravan owner in the bar while I was telling the story of my exploits. So, but we have to go back and find him. I'm not sure what his name is.
If you can find, if we can track Karmat, Neferet says, then we may be able to get to the talisman before Canufis. If not, then we will need to work out the best move forwards, especially if this thing from Zuhul-Sar is the real danger. I will do some more research. I will see what I can find out.
Why don't I take Actian here down to that bar for a few drinks and see if our caravan owner shows up?
Sounds like a brilliant idea.
That does sound like a good idea. And on that note, given it's 11:15, I think we will stop there, and we will start in a bar in Khoraja when we play again in. Actually, I've got a feeling I'm not going to be able to play in a fortnight's time, but yeah, we'll start next game. We will start with Actian and Baldur trying to get the name of try to track down this this slaver. So I'm going to stop broadcast.